welcome back to Chronically Overdressed. I can't even believe that it has been a year since I've lived here in Vienna. And I know that you guys have been waiting patiently for an apartment tour and, of course, my dressing room. You will have to wait just a little bit longer on the full apartment tour, but your wait is finally over to see my Viennese iteration of my dressing room. If you have followed me for a little while, you have probably seen the tours of my dressing rooms in Germany, Hawaii, and Washington, D.C. If not, I will link all of that in the descriptions for you in case you want to see the evolution of my dressing rooms. I have gained a few more viewers since my last dressing room tour video. So I do want to give you a little bit of background of kind of how this all came to be. So my first dressing room came about in 2015 when we moved to Germany. If you're not aware, the majority of homes in Germany and also here in Austria don't actually come with built-in closets or really any kind of storage. People end up using a smaller room or just wardrobes to house their clothes. So when we moved to Germany, my dressing room was kind of born out of necessity, but it was also something that I've really wanted for a very long time. And we were fortunate enough to have a large enough house that I could use a spare room just as my dressing room. I used the IKEA PAX system for all of my clothing, and then I put together the Billy bookcases and used those for my shoes. When we moved to Hawaii and then eventually to Washington, D.C., all of those same wardrobes and bookcases came with us, and I set up a dressing room in each of those locations. Moving here to Vienna, we knew that we were going to, once again, have to create a space for my clothes, but also my husband needed some wardrobes for his clothes. In DC and in Hawaii, he just used the closets, the regular bedroom closets for his stuff. But we don't have those here, and so we were going to need a solution for obviously my clothes, his clothes, and then other storage solutions here in the house because there are none. Most Altbau pre-war apartments, including ours, are designed with interconnecting rooms that have doors that lead from one to the next, and as well as kind of an inner corridor or hallway that also connects to each of the rooms. These apartments don't typically have rooms that are clearly designated for specific purposes. There isn't always a clear bedroom or living room. Instead, the layout's pretty flexible, which allows you to decide how each space functions based on your needs. So during our apartment search, it was important to us to find something that had a room that was either attached or right next to what would be our primary bedroom, or at least somewhat nearby. And preferably something that was a little bit smaller, not something that would be as large as, say, a living room. And most of these apartments had this smaller, kind of long, skinny room that was connected to what would be the primary bedroom. It seemed like maybe it would be a child's room or maybe even a playroom. And our apartment had one of those, and it was right next to connecting to our primary bedroom. Since the rooms flow into each other through doors in addition to the hallway door, this small room actually had 3 points of entry. The door from our room going into this one, the door into the hallway, into the corridor, and then another door that was going into what would become what I call the room of requirement, which is our library, our listening nook, and also my office. So as we were going to use this room as strictly my dressing room, we could block off 2 of those doors because I really just wanted access into our bedroom. And that gave me a full wall of wardrobes for my dresses. And then I could build out the other walls for my shoes, accessories, and separates. Since I had a bunch of wardrobes already from my previous dressing rooms, we used most of those, we used a lot of those for my husband's clothes, and we just put those in our primary bedroom and ended up putting doors on them. And then others we used around the house for other additional storage. And then I got all new wardrobes that I could build out to the room's specifications. The room is actually, I think, smaller than any of the other dressing rooms that I've had, but it's a much better use of space now. And I did get rid of some things. I sold a bunch of stuff and got rid of things when we left DC. I still have a lot more to get rid of and sell. But I did kind of pare down a bit. So having a smaller space was fine. And like I said, the space is utilized so much better than it was in any of the other iterations that I've had. Building it out this time, IKEA has really made some amazing improvements, and they make it so easy now. They now have an online planner, and you can create your entire wardrobe and actually visualize how it can come together for you. Within the planner, you can put your room dimensions in there, and then you just choose the size of your frames. You can set them out, move them around as much as you want within your dimensions. And then you can really see how everything fits within those measurements. And then the fun part, you just start adding in all of the components that you need for your wardrobe. They do have templates and layouts that you can use, or you can just choose them individually based on whatever you need. You can move them around, and then you can also see the measurements of everything, so you know how many components fit into each space. So depending on how many drawers you want, or clothing bars or shelving, you can see how much space you need. And then you can add your lighting and any additional organizers as well. And if you're putting doors on, it will alert you if there's any components that are going to be in the way of the hinges, so you can adjust all of that. I chose not to have doors on mine just because it is a full room. But we did put doors on for my husband's clothes. Once you put it all together exactly how you want it, it adds everything up for you and then just puts it all in the cart. Every single little component that you need. You can also do this in store in their planners in store. And if you want to talk to somebody and kind of have them help you, you can do that. But you can also just do this online at home in your pajamas and just order it. And you could either pick it up in store or have it delivered. We, of course, had it shipped since we don't have a car, and there was quite a bit of it, much to the chagrin of the delivery people. We also don't have an elevator, and we are up 2 flights of stairs. So yes, I tipped them very, very well. They were quite tired. And then my husband and I just took a weekend and put everything together. And it really did help to have that plan so we could remember where everything went. And then, of course, the fun part is just putting all of your clothes in and getting it organized and situated. Of course, I have everything organized by color. I like to color coordinate my clothing. It makes things so much easier for me. But yeah, that's basically how we created it. Eventually, when we have a more permanent home, I mean, we are going to be here most likely for about 7 years, but we are renting an apartment. I do want to kind of build it out a little bit more, put some trim on it, and really make it more of a built-in, which I've seen people on Pinterest do that, and it looks amazing. I just don't know if we want to do that here because it kind of does make it more permanent. It makes it difficult to bring those wardrobe pieces with us when we go. So maybe eventually we might do that, but as it is right now, I'm really happy with it. And I'm in love with the space, and it works so, so well for me. Without further ado, welcome to my Viennese dressing room. Thank you so much for joining me on the tour of my dressing room. I'm incredibly happy with how it turned out. And if you have any questions at all about how I put it together or questions about anything here in the dressing room, just drop those in the comments below and I will be happy to answer them. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.